Hey, good evening, everyone. How you doing, Glenn?
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. My name's Ted Davies. I'm an artist and author, and every Wednesday night, 7 p.m., I'm a Truth Monger.
And my name's Glenn Fleming. I'm a writer, artist, and publisher, and I'm a Truth Monger too, apparently.
Apparently. I don't know how I got that gig, but...
Allegedly.
Allegedly, right. Yeah, so this is the Truth Mongers, and we're talking about crop circles tonight, and we'll get to that in a minute after we talk about how we get promoted by some very nice people. In my coffee cup tonight, I think it's Wake and Dragon. I think it's kind of late though. I think it's Wake and Dragon. I'm pretty sure. I made some this afternoon. I think it was Wake and Dragon. But anyway, check out what Indian River Roasting Company is doing. We'll be right back. Here at Ted Davies Artistry, we take coffee seriously. And so does our sponsor, Indian River Roasting Company. It's fair trade, organic, and they're artisans just like me. The only difference is I use watercolor and ink and they use coffee beans. And I enjoy it all through my day. So do yourself a favor, go to the description when you like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Find Indian River Roasting Company's website. Use the promo code CaffeinateTed2021 and save 10% on your purchase. Yeah, so use that CaffeinateTed2021 promo code as I'm waking up here. And get some caffeine. You'll find the description, or you'll find their website under the description, IndianRiverRoastingCompany.com. We're also going to check out John Cashman down at Cashman's Comics in Bay City. Let's see his promo real quick.
I wake up feeling the same way now. Need to find something to believe. Every night the dreams we make, they're haunting my head now.
Yeah, everybody needs to check out what John's doing in Bay City. Say hi to Petey the dog if you guys are lucky enough to be at the comic book store. Glenn, we're going to have to take you over there once you arrive in the States. In the future,
I want to meet Petey.
Absolutely,
he looks really tough, but he's really soft.
He's a sweetie. Yep, absolutely. But check out everything that John's doing. Whether you're a novice collector or a seasoned collector like Glenn and myself, he'll ship nationwide, and he is awesome. So check out everything he's doing. We're also affiliated with the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. We're going to be changing out this. I think this sheet here soon because there's a lot of changes that are happening with a few of the broadcasts. And but we're 7 days a week. We are a group of creatives that help creatives build their business. And tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock, we're going to teach you how to manufacture a cigar. So I know Carl's in the audience right now, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to talking a little bit, but we haven't done that in about a month. So yeah, there's a lot going on right now. But tonight, again, I want to say hi to everybody. But tonight, we're going to be talking about a lot of things in your neck of the woods, Glenn. Crop circles.
Crop circles, yeah. Interesting subject.
It is. Let's say hi to everybody. You got the list, don't you? Let's see. We got Dan Donna, the man, Carl, Donna, Grant,
Avenger.
Yep.
He thinks I need some caffeine. He's probably right.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's midnight here.
Yeah, and we appreciate you staying up late. I know it's not an easy thing.
I'd be awake anyway. I didn't get to sleep till 5 last evening, so yeah. I've had about
1880.
2 hours sleep in the last 24, so I'm all right.
Wow. Well, we got to get you some rest here, man.
I'm all right.
Brian's here, like I said. Paul's here. How's it going, Paul? Okay, I think we're there. Ace Bonnie's in house too, so welcome everyone. Okay, so let's start out. What do you know about crop circles?
I don't know too much about crop circles, but I did read that the first reporting or written report was back in 1678 or something
Right.
by some people. So I've got a story about these guys called Doug and Dave that were sort of prominent in the 90s.
Yeah.
So those guys must have been 350 years old at the time. It's, because these guys came out. They're in the Daily Mail, I think it was, in about 1993.
Okay.
They were claiming that it was simple. It was them, Doug and Dave. They go to the pub, have a couple of pints, and just for a laugh, get a plank of wood and a piece of rope,
right,
and go and make some of these crop circles, which the images you're going to show. And these guys must be the best artists who ever lived to have created these things. Plus, as I just said to you before, one thing I've noticed about looking at these aerial shots of these crop circles, there's never anywhere they could have walked in. The circles just appear. Right. So they are real, but I don't think that Doug and Dave were responsible for, well, especially the ones in 1678.
Right. And I think that there's going to be two parts. There's going to be ones that are man-made, and then there's going to be ones that aren't man-made. And there's a lot of things that go along with that too. But
you never see any photographs of the ones that Doug and Dave made.
Interesting. Didn't they get arrested for saying that they did it and they were on private property?
They were trampling down they were trampling on the farmers' wheat fields.
Right. And that's his crop.
Morning.
I mean, that's money.
So,
I'd be pissed. I would file charges too.
So I don't know what happened to them, but they got to still be around though, haven't they? Because I mean, they were 400 years when they were doing 400 years old when they were doing that.
And I remember seeing didn't they do a documentary or something where they showed how they did it? So
it was ridiculous.
It's just I mean, I want to say hi to Damien too, by the way. Good evening, Damien. Okay, so this isn't theirs, but this is a kind of tongue in cheek. I want to kind of show you an idea of a man-made one. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Christine would love that one. I haven't showed her that one yet, but now that one you can see that they could walk in through the trailways.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
Hello, Kitty. All right, so that's one. That's man-made. And this one for all of our nerdum here. You know how long that must have taken? That thing's huge.
It must have taken. That would have taken Doug and Dave an hour.
That thing's massive. That's like the Nazca lines. That thing's massive. That is a huge.
The thing that to me is that not that it's not. I don't know whether that's real or not, or whether that's just a Photoshop. But if that's real, imagine plotting it at ground level.
Right. Exactly. And the only way you're going to see it is up in the air.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, how
like,
do you
like the Nazca lines? Yeah.
Right.
Big spiders and elephants. And
right.
Everything that wasn't elephant that's allegedly never been in South America is on those plains.
Right.
Maybe we can let that one go.
Exterminate. Great. But yeah, you guys, I mean, okay, so we kind of got a basis now of what we think. And it's easy to create these. And yeah, it could be Photoshopped. But it goes to show you that there are ways to create these. The ones that we're talking about tonight, though, are like the ones that we showed in the on the thumbnail of this program. And this one I took from that.
That's in Wiltshire. That's in Wiltshire.
And that's
200 miles from me.
When you zoom in on this, it's so precise in the way that the field, the wheat or whatever it is woven. It's amazing. I mean, this isn't just a flyby.
But look how you still got the walkways through it as well. Yeah.
Well, that was because it was. Well, the guys were talking about that too. They don't have whoever that are making these or whatever is making these things wait for the wheat or whatever to get high enough to make a, and there will be tracks in there because of cultivating and everything else that's going on with the,
Right.
right? So, but the molecular side of it is a really amazing thing, and I'll talk to you about that in a minute. Now, how far is that from your home?
About 150 miles
Okay.
south.
Do you have anything closer to you that you've had? I know
Not
Stonehenge we
that
talked about.
Stonehenge is further, so
Yeah.
I've never known of anything nearer than that. But that doesn't mean it don't happen. I mean, look at that.
Yeah.
How could you possibly get that to look
With that
so
arch.
precise?
Yeah, there's no way. I mean, that's
from the
that's a
ground.
nautilus. How could you
Yeah.
do that? There's no
I mean,
way.
that is incredible. That's just nothing short of incredible.
It is.
But I did read somewhere that the crops become super crops, don't they?
Right. So what happens is that when they find this phenomenon, it actually the crops, the DNA of the seed, everything that happens accelerates it. And what they found is that it's like a microwave. It's like a plasma beam, if you want to call it that. And we'll discuss that a little bit too, to where it's like frying everything in its path. Bugs are melted to the plants. They found animals, porcupines, and all kinds of stuff, and especially in the UK, and we'll talk about that too. And they've discovered that molecularly these things change, and the wheat is woven. It's sometimes broken into staggering patterns,
Yeah.
almost like a pyramid.
Yeah.
It's fascinating, the in-depth detail that happens with these things. But like I said, compared to Hello Kitty or something like that, even this could be rendered. I think we could do this if you had the proper, if you're in the center and then actually worked your way out, you could do that.
But like you said before, how long would that take you?
No, it's not overnight. Yeah, it would take days.
So Doug and Dave, you see, they were, apart from being pissed, they were in the night time.
Yeah. Right.
You know, I've been drunk. I've been drunk at 1 o'clock in the morning, and my eyesight did not improve.
The last thing I was going to do is crop circles. I might be spinning around, but I'm not going to do crop circles. So there's a lot of investigation about it, because a lot of people have been talking about, a lot of doctors have been talking about, scientists have said that they've got a team of people. There was actually a gentleman in the UK, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but he discovered, if you've seen one, I don't have the picture of it, but it had an alien with a disc. I don't know if you saw it. The picture was burned, and it had this disc that had, was, I guess, decoded by this gentleman.
Is that Horace Drew?
I don't remember now. He went missing, though.
He said
he went missing, and
he said they were time travelers and stuff like that.
Sorry, that's interesting.
Go ahead.
Well, the woman that was on this documentary I was listening to earlier, she said that, and she's a doctor in Canada, a scientist who specializes in crop circles. That's what she
how can you specialize in crop circles?
Well, I don't know. I guess she can. Molecularly, I guess she's a molecular scientist. I guess that they bring her samples, I guess, of this worldwide, of different, like, dirt from the area or whatever, plants.
Right.
And it's got, like, no, serious. They've got like a track record of iron deposits, all these things that are supercharged in the fields. And literally your phone doesn't work when you're in the circles. You go outside the circle, immediately kicks back on. Really weird phenomenon like that. And she said that the DNA of the seeds change. It actually will make the crop grow stronger. So she was talking about that. And anyway, this gentleman that she knew ended up deciphering one of this disc or whatever, the way that it almost looked like a record. It was really weird. Anyway, he went missing, and she said it was really a weird thing. He deciphered it, and he was ready to tell the world what it was, and he's gone. Don't know where he is now. So
there was a program on here about 20 odd years ago about some people who went went out there filming this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't show any of the footage in the program, and then they said that the cameras failed. So two things there. One, I wasn't surprised they didn't show any of the actual footage, because they never do. It's like when the when the the orbiter went into the clouds of Titan out
Yeah.
in Saturn way, the cameras suddenly give up. It goes all that way and the cameras give up.
Yeah.
So there's two things going on. The cameras gave up, or they weren't showing what was
Actually happening.
yeah. And if it would have been Doug and Dave, they would have shown it.
Okay.
It's as simple as that. Isn't
That's the truth.
It's
and
as simple as that.
That's why we're the Mongers. So
Yeah.
one of the things, okay, Carl brings up a really good point. It's just that it happened quite a lot in the UK first and then spread
Well,
it. Okay. And
the first reporting was in Tully, Australia in 1966. So
right. And Dan talked about that in the 1950s. There were some simple ones found in Australia during the UFOs flaps back in the 1950s. So that's probably kin to that.
Similar thing, yeah.
One of the things I was talking to you, and this is the hammer I was going to hit you with on the show. So metaphorically, of course.
Of course.
The UK has more crop circle, literally more crop circles than anywhere else in the world. And you also have, and it's very similar to Michigan and Ohio and Pennsylvania and around the Great Lakes. It's very similar in this, is that you have the same, what they call green sand. Sand. And what it is it's an aquifer system underneath the UK it's almost under all the land. So you have, as far as an electrical engineer mindset, that water could be electrically charged, supercharged. And there could be spots that are accessed by, if you want to call them alternate beings or whatever, that use them. I don't know if it's to that depth, but that's one of the reasons that the UK is, I believe, is probably utilized more with crop circles if it's a transference of energy in that respect. There's a lot of ley lines too, like we talked about, but there's definitely a correlation between these. And my other thing is that I don't necessarily think that it's from the sky down that these things are made. I think it's possibly from the earth out. And the reason why I say that is because when you deal with different things from, like we were talking about, earth generating energy and that, plasmas, all kinds of things, electrons move back and forth. But it just seems to me that from all the different farmers and that have talked about their crops, literally, they saw them just fall. There was nothing above them. There was nothing in the sky that night or anything. And they would just watch.
How could they see them at night? How could they
I
see them
don't know.
fall
I have
at
no
night?
idea. I don't know.
And why is
on the moon and that, I mean, it could go a couple different
maybe,
ways.
but what about the fields around these things? They're not in all the fields. So is it just that little bit that's on the screen?
Well, I think and like I was saying, it's pinpoint. It's pinpointed throughout. If I'm just saying, there might be an option that it could be, think about that it could come from the earth out. And if it does, okay, so maybe that there's ancient technology, whatever you want to call it, that's there, that's kind of like not a time capsule, but like a time capsule, a generator that pops off energy here and there.
But why would it make different patterns? Why not always the same?
I don't know.
Why not
that.
all the time? And why not in the next field and things like that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think, well, in this, that was just one idea I had. The other idea was, it's a marking, it's a roadmap. It's a connection for some other being to see and connect to the next, not connect the dots, but connect to the next. Because we all try to find patterns and things, and maybe that's how they see. Maybe it's a drone. Maybe that's, if it is from another technology.
Yeah,
not Earth.
I heard one theory that it was satellite lasers from orbit and all this kind of stuff. Just people just playing, with these lasers and burning these things. But as we said before, they're not destroyed, are they?
No, they're not. They're enhanced.
So you'd think that, they're enhanced. So you'd think that a laser would destroy it rather than just.
And that's why I think it's
over.
probably more like a microwave. I know I said plasma before, but it's very similar. I mean, those the bugs and everything were melted to that. So there's got to be some high power energy that's happening at that point. But
I think if it is some kind of laser or that kind of system, I think it's coming from above rather than below. But that's just my opinion.
Okay.
this green sand thing, I don't know about. I mean, I'm not denying that it isn't there, but like I say, why is it just on that little strip? Why
Right.
does it not happen there all the time? When I'm presuming that when like this Wiltshire photograph you've got here, when that grows back,
Hmm.
if it grows back,
Right.
next week it'll be a different shape. So why would
True.
it be a different shape if it's the sand's been there for 10 million years, you know?
The other thing the doctor or the scientist was saying is that when there's a lot of limestone and a lot of granite, that kind of uh, memory retentive material, these will be found. And that's what I was saying. There might be, maybe there's a download of some information. Maybe there's something like that. Carl says, yeah, a laser would burn everything.
Mhm.
I mean, I think that might be true too. I don't know. But I know that seeing the results of these poor animals that are burnt to a crisp. I mean, it goes without saying that something's going on. So,
Well,
and then
there's other things about the animals where they're having pieces of their bodies taken out surgically,
yeah,
no blood, and
yeah.
all that kind of thing. So,
I mean that could go. I mean, that's a whole nother show. But yeah,
yes,
I'm with you on that. So my thing though is is it maybe a directive thing? Maybe it's who's to say that it's in orbit if it is a technology? Who's to say it's not from a different planet that they just pinpoint it and they shoot it like a sniper, a logo or whatever? Maybe the technology is there to warn us. Maybe they're
I,
changing. Maybe they're changing the crops. Maybe they're doing it
yeah,
for our benefit.
yeah,
There's a
maybe,
lot of things.
maybe they're
There's
just having a laugh.
or they could.
You
Yeah, maybe
know,
they are.
you don't know, do you?
Yeah, that could be the ET's graffiti. You know.
Well, this guy, this Horace Drew guy, he was talking about time travel, and that's his theory. But his theory falls down because he thinks that these symbols that we see are actually messages, and he
Okay.
thinks they're saying things like believe and
Like
beware
encrypted.
the beware the beware false gifts and all this. But
Well,
why is it written in English? Why is he understand? How can he translate?
yeah.
That kind of thing.
What are the things now? The Donna and Carl, the Munsey things, what do they call it? The square. We all have it. We can read it with our phones. What do they call it? I can't think of it right now. You know what I'm talking about? The square that's got the pixelated picture in it. So
Oh yeah,
I
yes, yeah.
forget the name of it now.
The barcode thing, whatever it's
Right.
called.
It's not a barcode though.
No, but it's similar
But
to
it's
it. Yeah.
okay. So if you look at it from that perspective, a crop circle is a barcode or this,
Mhm.
you know, what maybe it is an dances, maybe it's an alien
See,
advertising
the
logo.
thing about them that I don't understand is why they're all different.
Okay.
I don't think there's any two the same, and there's hundreds of these things.
Yeah.
But they're never the same, and like I say, they're never in all the fields. I sent you a photograph there of the one near Stonehenge, the what's it called, the Julia thing or something.
Yeah.
And it's the Julia set, and it's there's nothing next to it.
Mm-hmm.
If you put the photograph up, there's nothing next to it. It's
Where'd you send it?
I send it
Messenger?
to you. It's the other one I sent apart from this Wiltshire one, and it's just on
Give me
its
one
own.
sec.
It's just on its own. It's just I think I think they're deliberate, but I don't know how. But I think they're deliberate things. An intelligence behind them. By that,
Yeah.
I mean.
What if they were just cosmic pen pals and they're just leaving?
Well, I think it could be similar to the hieroglyphics in the pyramids, because I don't believe that those hieroglyphics say what the experts tell us they're saying.
Right.
Because
Right.
just not to get off this subject, but just for a second, I was talking to Helen about this the other day, and I was saying that I reckon the guys on the hieroglyphics with the fish head.
Yeah.
They have the fish head.
Yeah.
I think they were people from across the sea.
That one? Is that what you're talking about?
That's the one, yeah.
Okay.
What about the other fields there? I mean, how many? There's a lot of fields there.
Why was it pinpointed there? I don't know.
Nothing else is there.
Yeah.
And that shape,
It is weird. I don't know. When I was
it's
in
strange.
when I was a kid in Wales, when I went back with my dad and that, and my mom and that, we went back and we were up in the hills of I don't know if it were Clendidden or where we were. I think we were up by Rose, but anyway, in the North Country. We actually weren't too far from you, actually. And I remember seeing it was on a mountain though, but it was a circle. It was a crop circle, and it had just been made. I mean, it was, but
Wow.
but it was singed on the outer portion of it. I remember it vividly. And my dad's like, "This is a crop circle." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "No." I said, I was like 6 or 7. And he said that these pop up over here ever since I was a little boy. They would be out here in the night. You'd see the lights in the sky, and you would see drawings
Well, Doug and
the
Dave
next
get
morning.
around, aren't they?
What's that?
Doug and Dave get around. They were in Lincolnshire or somewhere.
Yeah, right, right. So, and I mean, I've heard people talk about it, the military just marking it, making marks to see if that's, they could, for tactical reasons. And okay, maybe, but the DNA stuff, the scientific side of it with the Earth that's supercharged afterward, there's just too many of that. There's too many things to think about with that.
I think it's a lot of energy going on, isn't there? It's like you said
Right.
about the water near you. You see
Right.
it glow, don't you? And there's all the energy on it.
Sure.
And it's one of the like hydro power and all that.
Well, and I think that it's, we talked about the Egyptians. If you guys haven't watched it, go back to our video, the power plants, the ancient power plants, the aquifers underneath the pyramids. It could be supercharged and utilized very easily. And if you look at it from an electrical engineer's viewpoint, there's so much energy that can be not just used, but stored in water that they're just discovering now on the quantum level. Because it's not the water, it's the field around the water. That's what you store the thing. It's crazy when you really think about it. So I think it's way past our pay grade, but I think that there's something definitely that going on with these crop circles to where they're either identifiers, markers of some sort for some type of maybe not legend in a story, but legend on a map. Maybe there's a directive. Maybe there's a secret 007 ET society that this is their, they have to download this image in order to get their next.
The ones that are flying out the North
Their next
Pole.
mission. There's a comic book for you. Yeah, we'll have to mark that one down. Okay, so, but yeah, I think that there's, I don't even know where to go with it, because I think the crop circle, why, I've seen other circles too, like in ice. I've seen that to where they've started pinpointing these ice circles throughout. Even in New Jersey, they had one that was actually cut overnight in the river. And it's like, and that could be done. That could be pretty easy. I mean, when you think about it, you could take a chainsaw or whatever and just go around, mark a center, and then just, you could do that pretty easily. I would think it'd be loud, but you could do it. But there's other places like in Russia and that have had these ice circles that are extremely detailed over one night. They come in and then they're gone. So I don't know.
I think it's remarkable that that Julia set that we just saw in Wiltshire there, was only noticed, when an aircraft flew over.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
Well, the Nazca lines weren't seen until 40, 30, something like that.
Well, as far as we know, people around there would have seen them for thousands of years, wouldn't they?
Right.
What I'm saying about this Julia set, that the first image that you put up, how come it? Do you see? I can't explain what I mean. Why did it take an aircraft flying over to see it? You surely, if you were anywhere near that, I mean, how high is that shot from? It's not from that high.
No.
100 feet, I know it's higher than a person, but if somebody's hanging around there all the time, you'd see something was wrong.
Yeah.
You wouldn't see the shape of it unless it was from the air.
Right.
Did you see? But it was unnoticed until somebody saw it from the air.
Interesting.
I just find it remarkable that I mean, it's probably something and nothing, you know. They probably, I think that probably energy from the Earth, like you say, or perhaps maybe something in low, hovering just above it, not from
And
orbit.
that could be too.
You know?
All the ones that Carl's seen have been on level ground, and that's what kind of threw my, my thinking back on it now, being on a mountain or a small bluff or whatever in Wales. You in the middle of all this heather, this purple flower. Um, it's not really a weed, but it's a beautiful setting. But yeah, you would never think it'd be up there. But most of the ones we see are on flat ground. Dan said something interesting here. I've seen natural ones in the wheat and oat fields on my family's farm. Simple, small circles, always after a huge thunderstorm. I always thought that we were caused by the microburst during the storm. Okay, that's interesting. Were they burnt? Was it a burn pattern or nothing like the huge patterns that you're seeing? And we don't have them we do have them in America, but not like you guys do in the UK. And I really, the aquifer thing, I really think is something that's a good argument that would be why.
What about the rest of Europe? Are they not seen there?
Not like the UK, not like, because like I said, there's similarities between the geography of Michigan and, like I said, Ohio, down through Pennsylvania, parts of Canada, and the Great Lakes area, very similar to the UK. And that's why we have more here. But it's not documented as much as it is with you. So that's interesting too. So I don't know if we're just too smart for our own good or what, but
it's interesting though, isn't it? These have only been seen since the early 70s. Why would it suddenly start happening now? Why has it not been happening for thousands of years?
Yeah, age of Aquarius, man. I don't know. I'm throwing it out there. I don't know. There's got to be some reason. I mean, it's okay. Granted, there are some guys that go out there at night, do whatever, and that's cool. But we're like I said, we're talking about a whole nother level of.
Yeah, you see, the point is with Doug and Dave, because they're the famous people the hoaxers. The fact is that the point is that it's not that they didn't do them.
Mm-hmm.
It's that the fact that they didn't do that one because
right.
they couldn't possibly have done. And this is what people
duplicate that. Yeah,
this is what people do. It's like, just as an aside, again, a lot of people I know think that Lee Oswald shot Kennedy because he worked in the building.
Yeah.
Well, so did 95 other people.
Sure.
So what I'm saying is that Doug and Dave were creating their circle, but they weren't creating that one at Stonehenge, which is more precise. But people are closed-minded. They think, oh well, it's just these two drunken guys.
And maybe that's the agenda. Maybe they're there as a distraction,
of course,
so that we take away from it. Oh, it's just the two guys.
Yeah.
So Dan said, and there might, that could be I think that might be very true. No, just flat. Was it just flat crop less than 20 yard meter? Okay. So, and that's, and that could be a natural phenomenon too. These are so precise. There's got to be some higher intelligence, whether it's an AI or something. Maybe it's a drone. Maybe it's not even a manned craft. Maybe it's just sent here to do crop circles. Maybe it's just, you know what I mean? They just put these images up so that the next person that comes out or next being knows where they're going. I don't know.
I don't know whether these things are still happening because we don't get any reports of it.
Now they're all over the place. You can go on Facebook right now. You'll get 10 reports a week. Oh yeah, they happen. And in fact, it's probably easier for us to track them now. They probably have a whole series of glyphs that you probably can go through and figure out, okay, this one was made on this date, such and such year, and I'm sure.
Do we know when the most of them appeared on one night? How many?
I'm sure they do, but I don't know. If anybody knows, chime in. I know the Wikipedia page is pretty good about the crop circles. The first one, like you were saying, in the 16 or 1700s. Good evening, Jody.
It'd just be interesting to know how long it takes that crop to grow itself, regain its normal posture, as it were, and that the way that this happened.
But that's it. They're stating that they don't go back to normal. They actually have a heightened. They have a heightened yield. They have.
What I mean is that before you, like, if the ones we're looking at from the air.
Yeah.
How long is it before it's just the same
Oh, okay.
high, like the surrounding area. How long does that take?
Probably after the wheat's been harvested, I would think.
The next thing, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it would be interesting to see what the insurance would be for crop circle damage.
Could
I
you
mean, that
imagine
would be,
waking up if you're a farmer, you get you combine out and you go out to that and you find that, you go
Yeah.
absolutely berserk, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You go crazy, wouldn't you?
well,
But then
you know,
again,
it's money.
you wouldn't know, would you? You wouldn't see it.
And they're massive. These things are huge. I mean, we're not doing justice to the pictures, but I
Yeah.
think they're all natural ones that are just simple circles and made the intricate pattern artworks. Yeah. I think that's some of the, I would probably say that the one that was up on the mountain where we were was probably, I would think because the outer side of it was singed, I would bet you it was some type of lightning strike.
Right.
I would think. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. But that's, let's see what Carl's theory is. My theory would be that those crop circles specialists keep themselves in a job. Yeah, well, that's
I
right.
don't been heard of since. I don't
Right.
know, still in the pub, you know.
But the other thing was too is that there's nobody catching anybody doing it
That's right.
either, right?
So there's no film of anybody doing it.
Or orbs or anything building
There's
anything at night
no
or
film
taking
of any drones or
Right.
laser beams or
Right.
whatever.
Except for the eyewitnesses of the farmers that I said that were looking at their crops in the evening under a bright moon,
yeah,
and all of a sudden their crops just collapsed.
right.
That's in no film, nothing. So, but there's other statements that they were saying that they heard they were hearing noises, not like machinery, but like a buzzing, like electricity, like if you get too close to a power tower,
Yeah, yeah.
So that, again, whether it's from earth up or from air down, something's happening. So I love to think about and I'm glad the way the Marvel universe kind of tied in with Thor when he leaves to go to Asgard and come back down and the ground that he's there, it leaves a pattern, which I think is kind of cool. That's kind of a neat segue because that goes to what that guy was saying, not time travel, but the same idea.
Telling you something. Maybe it's another film. They're telling us something through.
Maybe.
Like in what's that quote in Close Encounters when they're getting off the spaceship at the end, and that guy says,
"Yeah,
Einstein was right," and
right.
the other guy says, "Einstein was probably
one of them." Yeah, right. No doubt.
I think that's great.
No doubt. I think that there's probably there's a lot more to the crop circle thing if we really look at it and look at it from a standpoint of all right, who's doing it? Okay, so we got a higher intelligence doing it. What would be the reason why? Okay, so it's an image-based, if you want to call it a glyph or a hieroglyph, and then to what benefit? Is if it's altering something, is it to alter crops or is it to alter consciousness? That's the thing is what I'm getting at. We're here, be aware the people are, that's one of the things that one of them was deciphered. It said, be aware of not false prophets, but along that type of, be aware that people are.
Yeah, I think they're probably warning signs or that either saying don't land here or it's safe to land here or whatever. But there's something going on. And maybe they can tap into some kind of energy force as well, like the pyramids
like I said,
talking about.
Maybe they're downloading. I mean, each of on our computers, unless it's Wi-Fi, each of us have an interface, whether it's a USB or whatever. What if this is just the download pattern of what energy is there? I'm just saying. Hey, Bonnie, this is a good point. Most crops need a growing season of at least 90 days. In tropical regions where it is warm year-round, the growing season can last the entire year. That's a good point. So about 3 months then? In the UK, it might be longer because your weather's crappy.
Our weather's the best in the world. That's why it's so lovely and green.
Oh, yeah. It's, well, that I will give you. That
have you been to
Arizona?
Gorgeous. Have you been to Arizona this week?
No.
Sand.
Yeah, well,
Spain. Sand.
Apparently you got green sand too.
Listen, let me just say something now. Have you not noticed that everybody wants to come and live here? I'll leave it there.
Who's everybody wants to go live there?
I'm not going into that. Anyway,
No?
no, it was just a
Guys,
joke.
pipe up. If you guys, hey, anybody wants to move to the UK, I want to hear it now, because that's great. It is beautiful there, though. Wales it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
That whole area. I don't know about your area. It's kind of, you're by by Liverpool, Blackpool, right? You're up that way, aren't you?
35 miles east of Liverpool.
Yeah. So, and that's, like I said, that's not too far from the Welsh border. You really weren't.
Yeah.
You were not too far from where my dad grew up in northern Wales. So
Yeah, but see, you would think it was great because you're Welsh, you see. Well, I think England's great because I'm English, so it's sort of
whatever.
follows, doesn't it?
Well, you know, y'all can't be perfect. It's all right. Overcrowding on the island, Jody. You got to be careful because the island will tip if you put too many people on this one side. You got to be careful.
People aren't happy that
maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe they're trying to lighten up the crops so it balances that. Maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe that could be.
Maybe those people are reading the crop circles and they're saying, "Come here and get free money." Anyway,
we want to buy a place. Okay, here goes one guy.
Hebden Bridge, that's near me.
All right.
And Troublemakers, yeah,
good.
That's near me. Yeah, Hebden Bridge, very nice there. Yeah,
we'll get a couple. I'll do you one better, Carl. You guys do that. We'll get one too, but we'll be on the Welsh side, and then we'll get a couple of motorcycles, and we'll do what they call the ton. You know how to the cafe bikes where they would ride from one so
one trouble to the
one
next.
pub to the next. Yeah, dangerous as hell. You don't do that, but anyway.
But there's a pub on every corner over here, so you don't need to go.
That's true, and it's a smaller area too. So they would put music on the jukebox, and then they would race to wherever and then back before the song was done. And it would be called a ton because they would hit 100 miles an hour on these bikes, which was like crazy speeds, especially in wet roads. Nuts, completely nuts.
Especially at 1 o'clock in the morning when Doug and Dave are with you.
Yeah, right. So then crop circle it. Yeah. What are Doug and Dave doing? Are they still alive?
No idea. I've not heard of them since. That was about 1993 when they were all over the news.
I know that they're on. I know they've got a YouTube documentary or something about them. I didn't watch it.
Right.
Dan says we rent a field from an old retired farmer that had a bare spot about the width of 2 school buses. That spot never grew anything. The farmer said that it was from a lightning strike 20 years earlier. Interesting.
Yeah. There's probably a really simple explanation for it. We just don't understand. It's energy, isn't it?
Yeah. You guys pipe up. If there's any other theories out there, I don't know. I mean, maybe somebody might have just gotten a new lawnmower and they're just trying it out.
Grant's got a good reason to come to England. Somewhere there's a pub on every corner.
Oh, there, and it's in stumbling distance. That's the best part of it.
They're all closing down now, though.
Well, they call them inns, though. They call them public houses. They're inns. They're really. It's quite the one that my dad took me to when I was younger, not little, but 7 or 8. The ceilings were really low because they were built like in the 1600s. This pub was, and they had warm beer, which I never understood at all. That was just completely ludicrous.
They don't have warm beer. They don't. It's just not as cold as yours. It's because we've got taste.
Oh, it's gross.
We're subtle. We're subtle. You see, we're not these gung ho.
You are about as subtle as a tack hammer to the forehead. There's no way that you can tell me you're subtle.
What do you mean, me or England? Well, we did conquer the world.
Yeah. Okay. All right. There you are, guys. Thanks for watching this evening.
You're still trying.
So back to what we were talking about before you went off the rails. All right. So if you had one decision to make on the crop circles, what's your final word? No, we're not going to end the show here, but what's your final word on it?
I would
Case
say
closed. What is it?
We'll put Doug and Dave where they belong, back in the pub. I think it's energy, some release of energy. It's either coming up from the ground, like you said, or it's being released by something flying over it, but not necessarily in orbit. And I think there's, like with the pyramids and all that kind of stuff that we've been talking about, I think there's some kind of intelligence behind it. And I believe it's some kind of alien intelligence. whatever that might be. We could go into that later, but I think there's a lot of stuff we don't know. We think we're smart, and we're not. And it could be something really simple, such as your green sand and all that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a bit undecided, really, but I think there's something behind it. Now, when I'm saying intelligence, that might be the Earth. It doesn't mean somebody's thinking.
The consciousness of the Earth.
Yeah, it's just the Earth, like lightning and all that kind of energy stuff, and the water and all that. It's just alive, isn't it?
Right.
Absolutely. But I do believe there's something behind it. It's not just Doug and Dave.
Okay. So, and I think what I'd like to talk about is the possibility that I told you about the Black Knight, didn't I? The satellite that's been orbiting the Earth for
yes
millennia, and people don't know. They're telling us they don't know what it is.
Yep.
Ships get too close to it and shut down the life support. I mean, it's pretty amazing. So, and it's been talked about, it's been documented for all over the place on the internet, but I'm thinking that, why couldn't that particular satellite be part of this deal? I thought that maybe, we're seeing a huge, and Damien, you can jump in on this. We're seeing this huge idea of, printing things at home now, building your own action figures, everything else. What if there's, what if there's two aliens or something that are just downloading their homework and it ends up going to this, oops, we sent it to the wrong printer. You know what I mean? Maybe it's that simple to where or it's something that's very strategic.
Well, this is what I was saying before. I think it's energy, and I think there's something either releasing it or it's. I'm undecided, really. I don't really know, but it's not two guys after the pub, But
No.
There's something going on, and it's like everything we're talking about. There's always a little dark area that we never seem to be getting into, and you start thinking you're paranoid because you're thinking it's conspiracy,
right? You think you're nuts,
all that kind of thing.
Yeah,
and it's what was it? Don McLean, I think he said, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean you're wrong.
Correct.
Well,
and I think it's innate that we think about it, and not to be like scared, but just to break it down to see where we're at, because it's. I mean, it is our world. We're trying to figure out the.
I think what it is with humans is that we're trying to we have a need to understand everything, and we never will.
No.
And I don't know what a dog thinks, but or an ant. Maybe they feel the same. They just don't express it the same way.
Right.
But all the animals on the earth, apart from people, seem to just get on with it. It is what it is. But we're trying to find a reason for it.
There's nature to where we kind of moved away from it.
Yeah, it's the same thing with crime now. People say somebody does something. It's because his father left when he was 3, or because he had a bad school time. Well,
you can blame it on whatever.
Maybe he's just crazy. Maybe he's just evil.
Yeah.
Like they were saying about, I was reading about Hitler, and they're saying that, he doted on his mum and she died. He doted on his little brother and he died. And that made him go and start a war. Well, maybe he was just evil. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the explanation.
That's and you and I talk about this a lot. It's a universe of balance. I mean, and it's unfortunate because it's horrific. It is horrific. I don't mean that, but we wouldn't know what good was if we didn't have
morals.
Bad to yin yang. Very.
But don't forget,
horrific what he did. But
we have morals, don't we? We think it's appalling that people murder people.
Yeah.
But it's always happened. It always will. And I'm not saying we should ignore it or anything like that. But we try and make an excuse for it. Maybe that person's just a murderer. So I think you can get too involved in things.
Yeah. I don't know where. I'm sorry we got off on that subject.
Yeah.
but I'm with you on that. I think that there's definitely something, and I don't know if it's. Dan says he wants to use this Black Knight. I know we're kind of switching it over a little bit with the Black Knight satellite in the story as a warp drive engine left in orbit by shuttlecraft used by a visiting alien. Ooh, I love that. I'd buy that for $1 totally. You write that story, and it's
Walking
Dan's
around
story.
engine. Wow.
Yeah, that's a great story. Great makings of a story. But I mean, that would explain a lot if there was if I really tend to think that it's not just like a UFO flying around the world or UFOs coming down and just making their mark on ... because that's what they talked about too. It being landing gear. Some of them that was actually the way that the flying saucer or whatever it was landed, and that's what the impression was from them. Like, come on, give me a break on that one. Some of them, okay, I can understand. They got four impressions or whatever.
I can't believe that alien spacecraft every one is different.
Yeah, I don't either. And I think that there's probably several different, if you want to call them species or whatever. I'm sure there's got to be, right? And I'm sure they've all got different. It's not like they have a Ford manufacturer of UFOs on the moon, right? And they just say, you want yours blue or you want yours red,
But don't forget there is a system. Like if you look at a car,
Yeah,
they have 4 wheels. So that whatever it looks like or whatever color it is or however fast it goes, it has 4 wheels. So there could be in a landing system, there could be a sort of a proper way to do it.
Yeah.
And why reinvent the wheel?
Well, right.
literally? And
I'm sure there's a technology that they probably use, and they probably have, worked together in some regards. I would think. Star Trek, maybe not, but I'm just saying there's,
What's Grant saying there? Hitler started a war because he's a bad painter. Painters
are all evil. Okay, well, okay. I mean, yeah. There's I don't know. There's a lot to it. So I think that there's those are pretty good arguments on that. But as far as if we look at a military stance, what would be the benefit for a military to be? Is it a distractionary thing? Do they have?
If it's anything to do with the military, we have to go back to what we said earlier about it being lasers, and it's just a precision testing ground.
Okay.
But as you said, most of these things happen in England or British Isles.
Right.
Why would it only be there? Because if you think if the United States is the
what would be the point?
Is the leader in the technology, which I imagine they are.
There's got to be something in the earth or something there's got to be technology buried there or whatever. I mean, we've talked about this. There's more. There's what is it? Can't think of it right now. Stonehenge. There's more henges in that area, whether it's in the Netherlands, the UK, whatever. There's so many henges there too on ley lines that are. So there's got to be some type of energy. I mean, you feel it when you're there too. A lot of the stuff when you go to certain spots, you know what I'm talking about. You feel it. Scotland, you go to Wales, you feel in certain parts of that area.
Well, that's all coming from the ground, isn't it?
Hmm?
That's all coming from the ground.
I think so.
And it's like we said on the pyramid program. Maybe there are not batteries, but let's call it a battery.
Well, why not?
A source of energy under the ground.
Yeah.
And who's to say that around Stonehenge? I mean, how old is Stonehenge?
It's like the pyramid. I think it's a lot older than saying.
Yeah, it's like the pyramids. It's either 10,000 years old or 10 million years old, and nobody seems to be able to agree.
Right.
But if you imagine there was a civilization around Stonehenge, and these henges, these ley lines, maybe they were lighting the area, like we said about the pyramid, the town.
Absolutely.
Because you get the impression that they were just walking around under torchlight at night, if they were walking at all.
Yeah.
But maybe they had some kind of electrical current and bulbs and whatever.
I mean, and that's what I was talking about with the memory of it with these crop circles. What if it's just a delayed warning sign or something? I don't know. I mean, not like a billboard, but you know what I'm saying? Like up here, when we've got cottages that have a water heater or whatever go out and nobody's home, they have little red lights on the outside of the building to let the people whoever take care of it, let them know that something's wrong in the house.
Wow.
Well, what if that same idea applies to these crop circles, to whoever's looking for the signs for them and understands them? I'm just saying that's,
You could tie it in with the NASCAR, couldn't you? Because
Yeah, absolutely you could.
that's the
Except we
only
got
place.
crops here versus dirt, you know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely.
So maybe the carved there as landing sites, you know.
Or maybe
But
it's
it
giving a
seems strange.
direction of where to
But
go. Yeah.
it seems strange that you would carve giant spiders like at NASCAR and things like that, and
Right.
elephants, and there were no elephants in South America,
Right at the time.
allegedly.
That's great, Carl. Ah, Zorak was here.
Yeah,
Do you know what he means by that? Okay.
Kilroy.
Yeah, Kilroy. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, maybe that's as simple as it is. Maybe it's just a nod to the hey, we're still down here. You know,
Maybe they're just
come
having
get
a
us.
laugh.
You know,
Maybe they're just
what?
having a laugh.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just sitting on the black night thinking, "Look at this. Watch this now. Watch this."
Yeah.
You know,
They
wouldn't that
think
be
their
funny?
3D printers are so badass.
Because-
Wait, watch this.
Hey, listen, those 3D printers are brilliant,
No,
genius.
they're
Because
amazing.
when they
Amazing.
finally get off their asses and go to Mars,
Yeah.
and they need a couple of washers and nuts and bolts, they
They
print
can just
one.
make them. Yeah, right.
Fantastic.
They've got to have gravity though for it to work.
Do they?
I think so, because well, maybe not. Maybe they don't. I think
Well, just make a centrifuge then and spin it and make
Ah.
microgravity.
Check you out.
They did.
Check you out, Glenn.
Yeah, they did that with Skylab. They did it
impressive, man.
they did it on Gemini. They I think it was Gemini 6.
Yeah.
Pete Conrad and Dick Gordon. Dick Gordon did a spacewalk to the Agena docking target,
Okay.
tethered it, fixed a tether, and they spun it round and created
artificial gravity.
Not one gravity. It was nothing, but it was there. You know.
Interesting. So. And you don't know, you can't come up with a reason why you just said all this stuff and you can't come up with a reason why they're crop circles.
No, I've got an open mind on it. I can't pin it down.
I can't either. I don't know. Come on, guys.
I think it's energy. I think it's energy.
I think so too. I think that maybe it's a stored memory system, possibly, that they're downloading information that they need, possibly. Yeah. Anybody else think that or no? Tell me I'm crazy.
It's like we said before as well, that the pyramids, Easter Island, Peru, you know, all these.
They're all made of stone, all of it.
And they're also on the same parallel, aren't they?
Yes, they are. On the same ley line. Yeah. Ley lines.
Ley lines, yeah.
They're connected one way or the other.
So there's a reason for that. And I think it's because people were coming in, because I told you about the Moai that I saw in Easter Island, looking at the sky where the shuttle would come in. Yeah. I told you about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so that's a bit of a coincidence, isn't it? That the remotest plate on Earth has these strange things.
We talk about as authors, and then we talk about stories that have already been told. Every story's been told. Well, why couldn't every technology already been done too? I mean, we look at things like, let's talk about that. Let's talk about this. We've got somebody had to come up with the idea for a railway system, right? Out of the blue, all of a sudden we figure out, hey, we can put things on rails and go coast to coast. Now we come up with that. Come on. So there's things that are very, like we said in the ether, we were talking about that in one of the shows too, as far as the Akashi records with Kirby possibly being connected with that kind of intelligence or whatever, just like Tesla was. If there's things that we're doing right now that have maybe already been done century or hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years ago, that we're just rethinking it. We're coming to grips with it again. And maybe the technology, these crop circles, are that same thing. We've been really, if you think about it, we've been using printers for dot matrix printers or whatever forever. That's essentially the same idea. They're just making an image
exactly
into existing material.
When you think about it, technology is a really sort of finite thing, because if you look at a printing press, the Chinese we use immovable type, and then I presume the story Marco Polo came back with it, and then Gutenberg expanded it, right? But how can I put it? Once you've cracked it, like a wheel, you imagine the first wheel. It's only the same as the wheel on the space shuttle. principle. The principle is the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah.
But
But
the
it's a
space should-
leap.
the-
It's
the
a
spa-
leap in technology,
Exactly. So
right?
you think of
Yeah.
think of a printer, movable type, a printer.
Duplicating. Yeah.
And
Duplication's incredible. Yeah.
The only difference between Gutenberg in 14 something and the printers they have now is 600 years.
Right.
That's the only difference. It's
Yeah.
just a super Gutenberg. It's faster, color, blah blah blah. And
Yep.
so the technology is
Except the Gutenberg one would still be working versus the one that I've got that still scans like
And
crazy and
it
prints
don't-
out black,
yeah,
great, no problem.
yeah.
But right,
and it don't need electricity and all that.
right.
But
So
it's
Grant,
like-
I think Grant's got it. Crop circles are just alien emojis. I like
Yeah. But if you think of the technologies, like we said about the Egyptians maybe using the pyramids as energy sources to light the streets. Once you've made the bulb, you've lit the world up.
That's it.
It just
Yeah.
takes 10 years to make them all and
Yeah.
connect everybody. Like the
Right.
computers. I told you on the other show, the first computer I bought, my Apple Classic, was about the size of a toaster
Yeah.
back in 1990.
Yep.
That had about, 60 times more RAM than Eagle did when Neil Armstrong went
Right.
on the moon. Yeah.
Right. Right.
That Apple Classic I had, it needed 16 meg to run. Eagle's computer ran on 1 meg.
Right.
And that was only, what would it be? That was only 20 years later.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is the technology is just the jab, and then the rest is just what you do with it. Like an aircraft. Look at this is something I wanted to point out to you as well. It's in my book, actually, one of my books, that when the Wright brothers flew in 1903, 66 years later, we were on the moon.
Yeah.
So for 10,000 years or 1,000,000 years, man has wanted to fly. And in 1903, the Wright brothers flew the Kitty, and they had to fly it so far under manual control.
Right.
And also, the Kitty flew for 125 feet before it came down. The Saturn V rocket is 360 feet high.
Yeah.
So the rocket is 3 times as big. And like I say, it took 66 years. When we did flight, it took 66 years to get to the moon, because the principle is the same.
Yeah. I mean, lift is lift, at least not in the space, but here. One thing Carl said, so ET thinks we're an old train car or an abandoned store. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Or we're just not interesting enough yet.
I just don't think he thinks we're anything. I think just thinks we're like when we see ants, we just wonder what they're doing and they leave them to it,
Yeah. Or maybe they're guarding us. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. There's a couple.
I don't believe the theory that they're sort of interfering with us. I don't believe that one.
No, I don't think it's. Yeah, and maybe we're not supposed to know about the crop circles or whatever else we've been talking about. But I think that there's a definite. I don't think it's concern, except for the farmers that they mess up the field.
They'll get compensation from the EU.
Will they?
Yeah.
Or do they?
Well, they might not now, but what they've done before.
I know that the woman that was talking earlier on that documentary was, or the interview, she said that they'll actually go to the land where the crop circles are, and they'll pay the farmer for them to go in and actually take pieces of whatever for breakdown to find out what exactly is going on with it. If it was actually man-made or if it was not artificially made, but not man-made. And so they're paying, they don't make a whole lot of money. I'm assuming because their crop is, damaged now, but I don't know.
Yeah,
it just seems like a major, it's got to be a calling card of some sort that you have to be able to see from the sky.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously it's meant for somebody. So whether it's graffiti, a billboard, information, download, whatever, it is, it's real, it's tangible. And the distractionary thing of the people that, and this is one thing she brought up, I forget her name now, the doctor, she said that, or the scientist, she said that there's distractionary people that are out there that If they're on YouTube, they drive nice cars. They video certain crop circles of how they did it, and they did all these things. She said, and they're positioned, they're done that way so that the reality of what's really happening or what happens for the legitimate crop circles throws people off. They watch the YouTube thing of how they did it. Oh, that's how they did it. And that's like you're saying with whatever these guys' names were. It's a distractionary tactic. And they've done that for years. It doesn't matter if it's corporate America, the guy sitting next to you makes you look dumb. And then the boss is yelling at you and he's the one screwing up. It's the same idea,
Yep.
I don't know. So I don't know if it's like I said, a billboard, if it's ET graffiti, or if it's more than that. The movie Signs was always interesting to me too. Have you ever seen that movie?
Yeah. Mel Gibson. Not Mel
Yeah.
Gibson.
Yeah, it's Mel Gibson.
Is it Mel
He
Gibson?
directed it, didn't he? Joaquin Phoenix was one of the stars.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, he was the priest, wasn't he? He lost his faith or something. Is that on the right one? No, I'm on the wrong one. That's
is that right? No.
Yes.
Mel Gibson was the dad, right?
There's aliens in it, and people think it's about aliens, but it's about
his
a
daughter
priest who's lost
has a
his
glass of water by the side of the bed to keep the monsters away.
Yeah.
And then come to find out they land on a planet with a bunch of water.
Yeah.
That was pretty smart. Anyway.
I'll tell you what's interesting about these crop circles is that they're obviously symbols.
Yes.
And if there's one thing that humankind like, it's symbols.
Yes. And
And it would seem to me, I mean, I'm not an alien, I suppose, to somebody I might be, but that doesn't look like a language. Rather than, do you understand what I mean? It's not like not letters, because they're all the same, aren't they? They're different sizes, but it's basically the same thing.
But what is a letter? It's a symbol. I mean, it's the same.
Yeah, but they're different, aren't they? They all seem to be, circles. Crop circles. They're mainly circles. I mean, that could be that one you're showing now could be a planetary system, couldn't it?
Oh, easily, yeah. Yeah, easily.
So who's to say that? I mean, so where would you look at it? Where you got Mars? I'm just saying, if you look at the centerpiece there, and that's the sun, you've got the inner one is Mercury, then you've got Venus, then you've got a big planet like ours.
Right.
Then you've got Mars, which is smaller than ours.
Yeah.
And then you've got Jupiter, which is the biggest one.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's that.
I can see that. I mean, this could be
that's amazing.
A constellation. That could be. But this, obviously, the angles and everything, there's no way that this could have been made in one night. There's no way.
You can see people there in the center, can't you?
Yeah, well, that's the next morning.
So what I'm saying is that you can see the scale.
Yeah, right.
And they're not that big, are they?
No, they're not compared.
But look how perfect they are.
Yeah.
And you can even see, if you look at the sort of bottom ones in the middle, you can see the way
there's a sunburst effect.
Yeah,
it's a sunburst effect, and it's crazy. Yeah, it's just crazy.
But it's like we said, doing that in the middle of the night when you piss with a piece of rope and a plank of wood, it's not going to happen, is it?
Right. And I mean, the grandstand of this thing, I mean, that's got to be.
That could be a galaxy.
Yeah, easily. Or it could be, like Dan was saying, maybe it's a blueprint for a light speed generator, something. I mean, it could be all kinds of things.
Yeah.
And we build sprockets on bikes like that. They've been building them like that for centuries. This is a classic design in nature. The Nauticus designer is classic. You use it in just about, I mean, seashells, you name it. I mean, there's all kinds of things that are based on this idea.
Yeah.
But I firmly believe it's because whatever's reading this is reading it as a language, not as just a symbol. That's my take on it.
Yeah.
But, we see, I mean, what's that?
They're fabulous, whatever they are.
Yeah, and they're amazing. I mean, even this could have been this could have been done by somebody.
Yeah.
This is simple enough to where it could have been done by someone.
Yeah. But it's still pretty good.
But it is pretty, yeah. I'll have to say it is.
In fact, if you think about it, if you imagine, if you've got a pole in the center of the center, how are you going to do that outside one without knocking everything down?
Okay.
would you
Yeah.
do it? I mean, you couldn't even do it first, could you?
No, I guess not.
And you couldn't do it last. So
And both of them, both the man-made and the other alien-made, if you want to call it that, they're not cut down. They're not mowed down. They're
No.
just flattened or
flattened, yeah.
or woven.
And they're perfect. And when you see the Doug and Dave one, there's bits of stuff stuck everywhere, and it's all ripped out.
Yeah.
But these seem to be perfect. I mean, I don't know if we've got any close-ups of these things. It's a shame that this far away,
Grant says if they're trying to send us a message, they did a job of it.
Yeah.
He's right. He's absolutely right. I don't know if there's any we're going to even come to an agreement on what it is, but I think that we're probably right as far as the energy signatures and everything else, and that could be what it is too. That could be, we talked about resonance. We talked about different things and the way that certain sounds, certain frequencies have different patterns, whether it's on sand, or rice on a board or sand on a board. When you put frequency through it, it has different patterns. This could be the same thing. Maybe it's a download under a certain frequency, and that's what creates these designs. I don't know.
I think they're amazing, aren't they?
It is. I mean, it's.
I think it's time somebody did some extensive research on this, but again, they probably have, and the mainstream won't take it, so nobody sees it. But I'm just wondering, maybe they have it, and YouTube won't allow it, or whatever. I don't know. But,
well, the guy, like I said, the one guy that was supposed to decipher a couple of them, he's no longer around. So either he found the way out, or somebody helped him. Pull in the middle, a line above the crops, then you go around in the circle. So that's what Carl says. I don't know.
I'd like to see somebody do it.
It's pretty. I mean, I saw the two guys, like I said, that they had the 2x4, whatever it was, the rope, and they went around in a circle. I'm like, okay, that's.
I think that there's several things that you should be looking at. Let's just say it could be done their way with a piece of wood and a piece of rope.
Sure.
Could be done. But the intricacy of these things and the time, it's the time element. They did them in the middle of the night. And I refuse to believe that somebody could produce, like the Wiltshire one there, the green one that you showed, do that in an evening or in 2 o'clock in the morning.
Which one was that? The first one?
Yeah.
Yeah. They,
that one, yeah.
It's very reminiscent of this idea of what we talked about with the pyramids. They've got this idea that the historians put out that they rolled logs to get these. And it's very, like I said, it's the same agenda. I mean, really, when you think about it, it's the same hide and go,
what do they call it? Obfuscation.
Yes. It's the same idea.
We covered it in the pyramids. What was it? I can't remember now, but what was it? They had to, they took 20 years to build it. There's 2.5 million bricks, you want to call them. They all weigh 2 tons. They had to lay, was it 300 an hour or something?
Yeah, it's an astronomical number.
Night and day, no accidents, no crushed people around, and everybody was being whipped,
Right.
No.
Ace Bonnie says, if we are the only ones in the universe, it would be a waste of space. That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Absolutely true.
That is, if we're the only thing around that is like as advanced as we are, that's scarier than the place being absolutely full of people. And if you think there's 900 zillion gazillion galaxies with billions of stuff, there's got to be one other place, hasn't there?
Oh, at least.
But the reason that's put out is because it kicks religion in the head overnight, doesn't it?
Yeah,
so
and
we can't have that.
Civilization as we know it would be.
Yeah.
Carl says maybe we can do it after a green room one evening. We'll go out and start making some crop circles.
Yeah.
What's interesting about this too is people have been prosecuted. Like I said, when they do this or when they say, "Hey, we did this," they get arrested because they're on private property. It's asinine to do that. So don't do that. Let the aliens do it, or whoever's got the technology to do that.
It's like you said. You just said about Doug and Dave. They go and tell everybody they do it. And then they wonder why the police are knocking on the door.
They're stupid. Yeah, we admitted it. Come get us.
It's like the perfect crime. People want to tell people, don't they?
Right.
I shot the president. It wasn't him. It was me.
What if it was some type of cosmic art gallery? And this was, we've got like a Leonardo da Vinci of aliens that's making this. What was the name of the Banksy or whatever his name was? The artist?
Banksy.
Yeah, Banksy.
He's
Maybe
still
it's an
around.
alien that's doing that, which I think's great. I think that would be even better. Having
The consensus is that Banksy is several people.
Yes, I agree with that.
Turns up like the guy who did the Wombles. I don't know whether you got the Wombles, did you?
I had some medicine, took care of it. But
in the 70s, they dressed up as Wombles. They were just like a stupid band, and the guy got in trouble because the Wombles exclusive to London were also on in Edinburgh on the same night, and he got in trouble for that because he had 15 bands going around.
Oh, that's
and they had
funny.
They had masks on, so nobody could tell who they were.
Yeah, that's funny.
So, the thing that do not to get from this crop circle thing is the fact that they are real. That's something. They are real,
and they're massive. They're huge,
but they're real.
So, yeah,
and it's just what are they and who's making them or
and
what's
who's keeping it quiet.
Yeah, and why don't we know? Why is the this is the thing you see with without getting political, but with governments, they don't go out and prove anybody wrong, do they? Just let everybody stew, don't they?
Well, they make everybody look like they're stupid by themselves. They make you look nuts, and even this show, some people are like, what are you talking about? But it's like it's a valid argument. It's valid. I think that probably in a world that didn't have agriculture like we do, it would be interesting to see what the crop circles look like. They would just be circles. They wouldn't be crop circles. But would they look like the Nazca lines? Would they look like,
spiders?
It's funny.
Look like spiders, yeah.
Yeah, right. But I think that the UK being, like you're saying, so lush and so green and everything else, and then having the aquifers underneath, it's a prime real estate to either store energy there. I mean, the alabaster, limestone, everything else that you've got there, all those things are conducive to technology, memory, to what we're used to.
It could be a simple thing like it's here that they do it. Like, I know there's pyramids all over the world, but I don't think there's many in England. There are none. So there'll be a reason for that. So
like you're thinking like UK's got the market on crop circles.
Yeah.
Because everybody else has got pyramids. Is that what you're saying? That's kind of it's probably true in a way.
Everybody's got pyramids, but you understand what I mean? We've got Stonehenge. I mean, now they're just lumps of rock. Everywhere else seems to be nicely made. I know the pyramids are lumps of rock, but they're putting a nice, nice building type of thing out. They're impressive. But Stonehenge isn't that impressive. Have you been to Stonehenge?
Yeah, but it's.
Did you think it was impressive?
Yeah.
Next to a pyramid.
No, but I've never been to Giza yet. Once I go there and see the, Dan apparently is well connected. Dan's very well connected apparently. He says no, Banksy is one. Banksy is one person.
That's not the latest theory.
I met a few trustworthy people who claim that to know him. I don't know him, but I'm a fan. But I think that would be a pretty funny comic. Bunch of traveling artists that use different planets as their. Tonight we have an art gallery on Dirt Rock from the Sun. Will be featured on.
Let me tell you what a friend of mine did. He went to Greece on holiday.
Okay.
And he was enjoying Greece, and he was on the beach and he found a rock, right? Just a rock on the beach, and he brought it home with him because he liked it. And then he went to Anglesey, which is near where your dad's from.
Know Anglesey very well. It's beautiful there.
And when he got to Anglesey, he threw this rock from Greece into the sea. And I wasn't there, but his friend said to him, "Why did you do that? That's from Greece. Why did you do that?" He said, "Because I wanted to mess up the minds of geologists in 10,000 years."
Oh, that's funny. We've got a stone here called Petoskey stone, in Petoskey in Michigan. It's about right here,
Right.
and we're finding them here. And it's ancient coral, and it travels. It takes millions of years, or maybe a guy in a pickup truck full of, and then coming over here and just dropping them off. But people come over here to our beach to find them, and they're all over the place here because of the currents and everything. Or a guy that has a pickup truck full of them just dropped them off like
I think
friend did.
I think it's like the human race. If we all had our DNA done, we're everything.
Yeah, we're all connected.
Because we all like to, get with it. And years ago, like we said before, the oceans weren't as deep, and people were traversing the world a bit more, and we're all,
Yep. And maybe this type of technology we just lost. Maybe it's a technology that keeps reoccurring, and maybe it's just a system relay that just shows up.
It's remarkable, or maybe it's not, that the way we always come back to the same source, as it were.
Yeah.
And that's this flood thing.
Yeah.
40,000 years ago that could have wiped everything out, and we started again. And like I said to you on the other show, that might be the big secret is because if we're knocked out by an asteroid like the dinosaurs, there's another question that begs the question: is there another one coming?
Yeah.
When? And if they don't know, we would, as the public, would think they should. And if they do know, it might be next week. But I think the technology thing that we said before, the saying that technology is like the dot that you find, and then you just build on it, just make it better, or expand it.
Yep.
But like you said, the technology may have been lost or forgotten for some reason, and we've got it back in a similar way, because it will be what was it? Ricky Gervais said about if you take all the religious books and burn them, and nobody's allowed to speak about religion for 10,000 years, and you also burn all the science books and nobody's allowed to talk about it, in 10,000 years, the science books will be the same.
Yes.
So the technology will always be the same.
Yeah. Dan's got a pretty good argument here for you.
I'm not arguing with him. It was.
You can read it. Read it out loud, man.
He said, well, I was in England at the time. It was friends of my wife's family who know Banksy. Oh, okay. Great.
I'm interested now. I think we need to do some research on that, because I'm going to go with Dan. Okay, he's one guy. You're saying he's two. Well, let's do
no, I'm not saying he's two. I'm not saying it. I'm saying that's the latest theory. I'm not saying it.
Got it. Okay.
And it's not two, it's several of them.
Several?
Yeah.
I mean, it would make sense that, but like with this too, if the crop circles, what if it's a group of people? What if it's the Illuminati or whoever? It's a group, and they're all doing this. Maybe they've got a technology that none of us have, and they are just, like you said, having some fun. Maybe they got the codes to get into the Black Knight, and maybe that's what they're using.
This Black Knight, where is it? How far out from Earth is it?
It's in orbit. It's been there for.
How big is it?
It's huge. It's huge.
What's huge?
I don't know. Bigger than a bread box? I don't know. I have no idea. It's like an RV.
Okay.
Recreational vehicle.
Yes, I know what that is.
Your comic book collection's about that big, because I know you got a lot of comics.
Right. Okay. So there won't be anybody on it then.
I don't know, man. Who knows? I have no idea. It looks like a rock. I mean, it looks like a big. It. Can anybody? I mean, I can pull a picture up. Let me find it. I'm a little scared to type in the Black Knight on Google, but we'll try it. The Black Knight satellite. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think Carl's got a good point there. Banksy's one guy, but not all the art attributed to him is all his. Yeah. Well, that's the theory anyway. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I just think he's a what's the word? An activist rather than an artist. But that's just my opinion.
Okay. I've got a couple of different pictures here. I'll see what you think about this. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. I know we're shifting gears on some of it on
Mhm.
this, but I think it's important that we bring it up because I've been thinking about that for a while. I think that maybe there's a lot more to the Black Knight.
Right.
If I can find it here.
Yeah. Dan says it looks about the size of a football stadium.
Yeah. You see
Right.
it?
Yeah, I've seen that before. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It looks
Thoughts?
like a. I tell you what. Look at the one, the big picture on the right. It looks
Yeah.
like a Y from the side, doesn't it?
Doesn't it?
That
That's what
long
I thought
nose
too.
and
That's
that
what I
ridge
thought
at the
too.
head. Oh
That's what I
dear.
thought too. See?
Wow.
What do you
Yeah.
think now, hot shot? What do you think, huh?
That's
Am I
something,
right?
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What if they're that's it? I mean, hot
Wow.
shot with the best, you're a great guy. I don't mean in a bad way.
I'm not offended. I don't care.
It's all good. But that's interesting stuff. You guys chime in if there's any
Look at that.
discussions on that. But we need to do a show just
Now,
on
yeah.
that.
What took that photograph? The shuttle.
They must have. They were
What
far
they-
enough away that it worked because
Why didn't
they
they
got
get a
too
bit-
close and it shut the thing down. Like I said, they were out of orbit when it
Right.
shut them down. So
Wow. That looks like a Y, doesn't it?
I think
Wouldn't that be something? If
isn't
it
that-
was?
isn't that it's a space Y.
Except he doesn't have a body. He would have a body if he was a Y.
Interesting stuff though.
But yeah. Wow. The Black Knight. Wow.
So we'll do a show on that. I think that might be a big segue into next week.
The Black Knight.
Dan Holyfield says that's the photo that gave me the story. It's a brilliant idea. Go run with it, Dan. I mean, that's a great. I'll invest in that. I didn't hear what Glenn said. A mine? No, it's a Moai. You got the
Why?
he's got the Rapa Nui book.
Yeah.
He knows.
Yeah.
You
Why?
bought it, right?
Yeah, the giant guys on Easter Island.
Pretty scary stuff when you think about it. I mean,
Yeah.
that type of that hitting the Earth's atmosphere would make a mess.
Yes.
That could make a mess.
Yeah.
And that's just floating around.
But the thing is, you see, is that it would make a mess, but it must have been put there because it wouldn't stay in
exactly.
orbit, would
That's
it?
what and it wouldn't have the signature that it does on it. The
Mhm.
electric signature, the pulse, whatever it is, it shorts out. It's there for a reason. It's been placed there.
Wow, that's scary.
And it is in a way, right? That's what I said. I was I was joking about them using it as a printer, as a little crop circle printer, but hey,
You might be right.
there's some kid on some planet somewhere, is downloading his homework to the wrong printer. His art homework.
I think it's interesting that apparently
it's Hatch. Maybe it's Hatch.
Yeah, all the
There you go.
all the cosmonauts in the 60s and the American astronauts, Gemini, Mercury, Apollo, were all followed into orbit by things.
Sure.
And followed to the moon, and that thing was said about Neil Armstrong and saying that they're on the crater rim and all that kind of thing. And he said he was going out, and NASA said, "Don't go out." He said, "Are you going to stop me?"
Yeah.
If it's
lock
true.
the doors. They can do that now, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But they probably couldn't do that back in the day. But I think that's a good argument. I think that might be for the crop circles. I'm just saying that there's maybe that's a satellite that brings in information from other planets or something. Maybe it's designed that way, and maybe it's just to be a drone. Maybe, maybe it's part of the network that we talked about. That the global, the Sky Network, if you want to call it that, the power that was coming off the Earth.
Be interesting to know if it was what's it called, geostationary orbit or something.
It is. I'm pretty sure it is. That's why it's such a weird thing.
Over where?
I don't even know. I don't know. We can check it out though. Like I said, let's do that next week because I think that's a really good.
That'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
So yeah, if you guys think so, let's get some feedback on that and see what you guys think. But
is there no reports apart from the photograph there, from the shuttle pilots and stuff?
I don't know. I've never gone into it. I will this week though. I will this week.
And
I don't even think that NASA denies it. It's just an anomaly, or it's a native thing. I don't know. It's been there since before time. I mean, before recorded time, and people have talked about it. Other
But how do they know that?
Well, ancients talked about it because they could see it.
Wow.
Back 100,000 years ago when they first started recording history, the verbal traditions and stuff, and yeah.
I wonder
mean,
if
I'll
it's some of
check.
the hieroglyphics then in the pyramids.
Sure, I bet you.
Wow.
Somebody must have dubbed it the Dark Night. Somebody must have known it's there. They must have seen it because they originally thought, I think they thought it was debris from one of the rockets.
Mhm.
Then they got too close to it and it shut everything down. And they're like, okay, well, obviously there's something more to this. So
Wow.
a week would be quite a short time for the research on the Black Knight. All right, cool. Well, I'm looking for show notes, man. Email me what you got, Dan, or give me links or whatever, because that's a big one.
Yeah, that's great.
That would be a good topic. Also, supposed to Russian nesting doll satellite. Huh. Interesting. Okay. All right. We'll see you later, Grant. Have a good evening. Thanks for stopping in.
See you, Grant.
But there's okay. I think that was pretty good. The crop circles are definitely something that I think are an enigma but it's here. It's what a great time to be alive, because now we're at least being able to investigate these.
You said about the green sand.
Yes.
Being in certain areas and nowhere else. It's interesting. I won't get into the politics, don't worry, but the Afghanistan thing.
Yeah.
With the lithium.
Mm-hmm.
Then there must be lithium everywhere, but that's the biggest
highest
point
concentration
on the Earth, and that's why the trouble there and everything, or part of it. And so that stands to read. I've never heard that green sand before. I've never heard that before, and I don't. That's probably
it's a geological term, though. It's actually it's just the way that it's a porous material, if we want to call it that. But there's just so much water. There's so much electricity could travel very, very easily through the ground there and through. That's why it's here. It's the same way. We have a lot of lightning strikes. Because of our aquifers here too. And Dan says there is a theory that says that the Black Knight just is a blanket from the shuttle missions. Mm-hmm.
No, it would be.
It's a big blanket, bro.
It would have re-entered orbit by now.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the shuttle's never more than, I think it's 240 miles up.
Right.
I don't know where that thing is, but it seemed to be in the same plane. So if it was a blanket,
it would have singed up a long time ago.
Yeah.
So I think that, and maybe they correlate. Maybe we'll find out a little bit more. I'm not saying that there's a laser popping out the top of that, burning or rearranging crops down.
If you think about it, if that's been put there by an alien race, lasers are probably long out of their system. They've got whatever they've got. We don't know.
Yeah, sure. Well, it would make more sense, like I said, with plasma, with a energy electron, something like a microwave. It would make a lot more sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I like to think of it as something maybe to help us versus to hinder us. I try to look at that. Try to look at because it's very scary in the other regard, right? And it could be something that has been left there from a million years ago when the civilization was different. It could have been something before the floods, plural. It could have been something that was there that they used for technology to power their whatever,
It could have been put there before we were here.
That's what I'm saying. Right. It very well could be.
It could just be monitoring the Earth.
Absolutely.
That'd be interesting. That'd be interesting to see the data base of that with all the dinosaur information on it, wouldn't it, if that was the case?
Yeah.
And whatever was before, that'd be something.
Yeah.
That's an interesting
theory. Dan, you need to write that story, bro.
Yeah. Do it, Dan.
Yeah, totally.
Ted will draw it for you.
Yeah, no problem. Done deal. You know my rates. So they've gone up since last week, but anyway. But I got you, Dan.
I'm surprised you're still talking to us.
Stop. Anyway, but there's I think it's intriguing how things connect, and I think that is really a good segue for next week. Well, I hope you guys liked the viewpoints on the crop circles. Let us know. Let us know if there's anything else you want to lead into on that. Let me I'm actually going to remove this real quick on that one. One of the things I do want to talk about, though, Glenn, you're going to be launching your Indiegogo. Let's
Yes,
talk about that.
on Tuesday.
Right. So let's go through that. If you guys have not started the or followed on Instagram, the pre-launch, please do. Give me 1 second. We're going to watch that promo.
When they mined an area, they put down yellow tape right across that line. See? And if you walked on the wrong side of that yellow tape, you blew up.
Strange Tales 136. I remember it very clearly, and that was my first exposure to Kirby. And I wanted to show it to people.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to look great on the bookshelf behind me, so I cannot wait.
It's launched on Tuesday, the 5th of October at 8 a.m. your time, 1 o'clock my time.
Excellent.
So that's when it's launched. So yeah, it's in edit at the moment. It's 99% done. The film's complete. The film's been ready for months. The book has taken a bit of time with people dropping out and stuff like that. But yeah, it's going to be there now. I'm not offering any sort of perk with it. It's just the basic book and DVD.
Good.
I can't be giving away artwork because I'd be giving away my artwork, and I don't think anybody wants to see my artwork.
Everybody wants to see your artwork.
Well, with regard to this,
yeah.
I had thought of doing my own drawing of Jack, and maybe I will if I get time, just to see. And if it passes my test, you might see it.
All right, cool.
But
right.
but yeah, it's basically the book, and the book is a 120-page full color. It's got lots of photographs in it. Mm-hmm. It's got on the end of the film, when I released it in 2017, it was to a specially invited audience at a theatre, and then we had a Q&A session, and that was filmed. Nobody's ever seen that, and that's on the back end of it. So it's just shot 2 hours long, I think, the whole thing, and it's got other little bits in it. Yes, it's really interesting. I'm hoping that I can sort of this won't happen, but I'm hoping that I can sort of leave it behind and start doing more Hatch and stuff like that, because I've been drawing a lot, as you know, and I'm really enjoying it. And this film is not holding me back, and I'm not dismissing it at all. But it'd be nice to. I'll end up doing something else with it. I know I will.
Put it out to the world. It's good. I think it's going to be it's going to be well received, and I think it's going to be well received. And I think a lot of people are going to be anxious to get a hold of it as a collection piece.
Yeah.
So I firmly believe that.
And the book's hardback, so it's going to be an A4, nice size book, a nice book, 120 pages. Like I say, lots of photographs, It's got the transcript of the film is in it, and it's also
Very
got
cool.
it's also got the other stuff that isn't on the film, basically, that I took extensive notes while I was there. We were talking about and discussing, and then I wrote it up almost immediately after I'd left, his house and all that kind of thing. So it's quite in the moment, as it were.
Good.
So
you didn't lose anything.
No.
Didn't, yeah.
There'll be something on this, but most of it's there. But the thing about it is that it's unique. I don't think there's too much film of him, but he's being himself. He's not being Jack Kirby, the artist that you see on
Right.
other films.
Right.
He's being himself because, as I've said to you before, I just let him talk. I just went with the flow. I didn't interrupt him. I didn't bring anything up about other things that were going on at the time. I just let him talk, and he's a really funny guy as well. It's really, some of the stories on there are great. The great one about NASA, you won't believe it.
I'm looking forward to it.
It's absolutely brilliant.
I'm sure everybody else is too. I know that
when you listen to the clip about NASA, you're going to go, "What?"
I don't, I probably won't, but I'm going to, I'll believe it.
You probably will.
I'll probably believe it. But, I appreciate you doing it, man. I'm glad that we can showcase it a little bit here at the end of the show.
Thanks for showing that film.
Hopefully everybody got something out of the crop circles tonight. I know next week we're going to be talking about the Black Knight that's circling the Earth. It's been here for countless years, eons, right?
That's
and we'll do some research on that. Yeah, that's going to be really cool. I'm looking forward to that one. Also on when your campaign ends, November 5th, is that correct?
Yes.
We're actually going to be starting a new podcast here with Craig and Craig Hall, who's doing the adaption for Retrieve.
What time is that going out?
That's going to be going out at 5 p.m. on Eastern Standard Time on November 5th.
So that's my 10.
Yeah.
My campaign ends at 1. My 1. You're 8 in the morning again. So good.
Great.
We can.
That'll be great. You can watch it as well. Everybody else can too. I'll show the promo here. 1 second. And we're going to start recording those, I think. Well, I know this month, obviously, because you're going to be launching it November 5th. So we're going to start recording them here soon. So, and those will all be pre-recorded. But it'll be definitely worth your time to watch and to be part of. So, all right, cool. Well, I think that's it for the week, man. You got anything else?
Okay. No, that's it. I'm looking forward to next week's Black Knight.
Yeah, man, I am too. I'm going to start doing some research on that. I appreciate everybody stopping in. I know Glenn does too. You guys are great. Thanks for sticking around with us. Hopefully you learned a little bit about crop circles, and maybe when you're looking at some crops, go check it out. See if there's anything funny going on. Hopefully nothing's funny growing, but we'll leave that alone. That might be legal in your state. So, okay. So we'll talk to you later. Try to have a good evening, guys. And we will see you next week.
See you later.